Welcome back, Christopher. I'm just going to get you set up. There you are.
Hey,
Hi,
sorry
Chris.
about that.
That's okay, buddy. How have you been?
Oh man, doing good. Man, I tell you what, just watching all these markets just kind of go crazy here.
Yeah, I mean, a lot has happened since we last talked. Do you remember the share screen to show your setup here?
Yeah. Let me get over here where we at. Sorry about that. Let me
That's
see.
okay.
Got to figure out the right one here. Let's go. She's still the only place I use this Zoom with.
Okay. Well, you know, for people that aren't familiar with you, they could find you, Chris, at on Twitter at TX West Capital, Texas West Capital, and you're a Wickoff guy. And since you and I talked, we had that. It hasn't been a great period for people bearish anything. We had the huge run in silver and gold, but sure, let's start off with VIX and what you're seeing here. I know that despite the market going to new all-time highs, we still haven't filled that gap at 18. So take it away and tell us what you're seeing here.
Yeah. So, it really, it's gone up a bit higher than I would have liked to have seen it go, but at the end of the day, I mean, if we look at this as where we potentially are in terms of the larger Elliott wave, it makes a lot of sense. Now, at this point now, we'll look at a closer S&P E-minis chart here in a minute, but we're pretty close to the all-time high.
Yeah.
And so, it's kind of hard to believe that it won't go up over it, but crazier things have happened. Even if it is, I mean, basically all that does with the count here is make this expanded flat here as a 4. So you've got an A and a B and a C. That gives you a 5 right here, which shouldn't go a whole lot higher than the all-time high. Maybe that works as a, so something everybody's like, oh yeah, look, it's definitely bullish, and we're going to new. Everybody thinks that all the markets right now are going up. Everybody thinks gold's going to continue up. Everybody thinks silver, stock market. The big thing behind that is that the Fed, they said, oh, the Fed's
Right.
not going to let it go any higher, go any lower. But, at the end of the day, the Fed really doesn't do anything other than, try to get the market to believe what it says so that the market does what it needs it to do. So
Yeah, and they were pretty effective. They were pretty effective during COVID, especially when they said they were going to come in and buy corporate bonds. I think at the beginning they didn't even spend $1 and took LQD back to the highs. So,
right.
yeah. So, are they doing more than jawboning now? I think they bought ETFs.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, but they haven't bought anything in quite a while. As a matter of fact, their balance sheet has been dropping over the last month, 2 months now.
Okay.
So yeah.
Right.
So I think if we look at the S&P here, we can look at the volatility index here, the VIX, and it's making this descending wedge here, and so we get a pop out of that wedge, and that could be what really just kind of freaks everybody out, because I mean, even though people are thinking, oh yeah, it's going to go up, any kind of weakness that shows up there, and people will attribute it to whatever's going on in the news. We have a habit as as being human beings, that we tend to, when something happens, we try to find a reason in hindsight why it happens, and then we go, oh, okay, that's why. We attribute news to it afterward.
That's what reporters do, not traders.
Do what?
That's what reporters do, not traders. Reporters tell us what happened after the fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
No, but just as human beings, and it's kind of funny because news and market action happen all the time. It's only at these specific times do we actually go, oh, well, it's because of the news event. But if you were to go back historically and look at all these real large news events, you would notice that they really don't do anything to change trends and whatnot. These things are already, if you're using Elliott wave, many times are already there in the charts. It's just like, oh, well, that's the reason they use for it going down this time. But if we look at what we've got here, again, we've got this VIX here getting ready to pop. which should send this down. That gives us a double top, you know, and that ends up getting quite a low move on there. I think everybody, I think at the end of the day, everybody's just they believe that, you know, I don't even get it, you know, from a rational standpoint, why they would believe that this is all that it takes and heads up there. To me, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, with the fact that if you go back, you know, we've got a 10-year bull market here, and nothing really happened since then. But
Yeah.
so for right now, let me zoom in here real quick. Where's that other chart?
Okay, well, a lot of people are attributing a lot of this to dollar weakness, but okay, now we're looking at S&P's daily. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the E-minis here. And yeah, we're going to take a look at the DXY here in a minute, because I believe at the end of the day, I think the DXY is basically just telling everything else what it's going to do.
I agree. It's the fulcrum on the wheel, don't you think?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So, you know, everybody's, I believe I was looking at it just the last few weeks here, and I believe the DXY bears are like either at or pretty close to the bearish they've ever been. And anytime historically this has happened where the bears have been that far off sides for the dollar, it's always reversed up. And so here we are again, and you know, everybody thinks that the dollar is going to, you know, to nothing, basically. Well, maybe not to nothing. You know, and they blame it on, right now, they say, oh, the Fed's printing all this money, which, you know, it's not. It's QE, which is, it's not that they're printing money and throwing it out there, and, you know, in the, out there in the sphere for all of us to use. You know, QE end up just being really a bank thing. You know, it kind of gives banks liquidity, a cushion, so that they'll be convinced, encouraged to put out loans to people that they normally wouldn't give out loans to.
How about the relief money fiscally coming from the U.S. government that may have stalled here?
That $1,200 that then the
unemployment supplement. Yeah, people got an extra $2,400 a month.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's these big numbers being floated around by Democrats right now, and I'm pretty much apolitical. I think all politics is just a bunch of, anyway.
I hear you. It's all the same as it ever was.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
And so I'm not, you know, I don't want people to think I'm, you know, anti-Republican, anti-Democrat. I'm both. But at the end of the day, you know,
But did this recovery to new highs surprise you?
I can't say that it's surprised. I'm rarely ever surprised. It's gone up higher than I thought it would, but never higher than I thought was possible. Even when we were down here at the bottom, you know, I had suggested that, you know, we had our levels we were watching. I said, but, you know, realistically, it could likely go way up here. I wouldn't be surprised, you know, and fill in this gap up here.
Yeah.
So I don't think it surprised us, and wow, I couldn't see that coming. It's more of a, well, you know, it's kind of like it let me down.
Yeah, I kind of thought we'd have that you could sell a fib retracement of the crash and make money, which if you did that, you lost money at every fib level.
Yeah. And I think one of the big problems, unfortunately, for most people that are in the markets, they look at these bigger pictures and they think that if you've got a particular view, you know, a longer term view, or if they happen to have one, then they think, well, you know what, I can't make money any other time. So if I'm talking about, for instance, the idea that, you know, that we're going to roll over here and head on down to lower lows, a lot of times newer traders happen to think, well, you know, they can't go long in here. And that's, and unfortunately that's the wrong way to look at it. There's always opportunity, you know, whether the market's going up or down. Just having a larger outlook, just, you know, it just gives you somewhere to look for, you know, to be careful in certain areas.
Okay. All right. So you think we're, what do we need? One more print high to complete up here? Because I was kind of thinking that we would take the double top out in NASDAQ 100 and that would be it. And that it would probably happen this week. So S&Ps, do you think 5 is in and 2 is complete?
Well, I'm with you on this week. I believe it is this week. You know, again, if we look at the VIX there, it looks like it's ready to go.
You follow Bradley models?
I'm sorry, say that again.
The Bradley models, cytographs and stuff. Anyway, there's a turning point date, the 19th. Friend of mine told me I don't
Oh,
follow. Uh, that's Wednesday.
no,
So, and then I had astrological guys talk about what happened on Friday, and I think we have a new moon coming up. So there's astro guys, and then I have a cycle guy who's very good that I interviewed a month or so ago, and he was pointing towards mid-August as when the cycles would start to turn negative again. So I have a lot of things lining up. You have a lot of non-confirmations. I see it on your RSI chart too. So are you in the camp that we're going to take out the crash low, or because right now I'd be happy with a correction back down towards a one-year level, say the 2760 level. I think you have it as S4.
oh yeah, right here. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
or yeah, a little bit, almost S5 here.
but
Yeah.
you're looking for a four all the way down there. You
Oh
have
yeah,
a
yeah.
four.
No, yeah. I mean, if it's doing what I think it's doing, I mean,
Oh,
whether this is,
three. I see. All the way down there.
oh yeah,
Oh
we got
wow.
five way down here. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, and my thought here again is that it's this idea that
You're
this
one
is
of the most bearish guys I know, Chris. There are other guys I know, but you're one of the bearish guys. And
well,
you think, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, somebody's got to be right.
Yeah, okay. You're the most of something. So, time-wise, you really think we could have three fulfill before the end of the year?
Oh no, 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 no. This isn't time wise here. No, no.
All
I
right.
just had
Yeah.
this drawn
Okay.
out. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right.
No, no. But the way I'm looking at it again, whether this is the top here, up here, and we are just barely going to nick it, and this is a 2, and we're coming off, or if this is as I was talking there, an expanded flat here for 4. So you have an A and a B and a C, and then this is 5. It goes up just a new all-time high, just higher there. In
Yeah.
either way, it should be the way I'm looking at is this grand super cycle top. And if that's correct, I mean, it's going to be something that none of us have ever really seen. I mean, it's going to be comparable to what we saw with the Great Depression as far as how much depth and breadth of movement down it is. I mean, we need credit expansion. We need people to spend money. As of May, it was like 33% savings, personal savings. There was the highest it's ever been in history. People are paying off loans, not taking them out right now. All this, is contracting the money, contracting the velocity. Nobody's
Yeah.
taking out all this extra credit, which is what the Fed needs in order for them to, to inflate, to have prices rise.
Yeah.
And
And don't
so,
you think people are going to just have post-traumatic stress from what they've gone through and the fears they're living with every day? I know a lot of people don't worry about COVID and they just go about their business, but with it being pounded into their head, older people being at risk, and they're the ones with the money, right?
yes,
Okay,
exactly,
the older
exactly.
generation, the baby boomers like me, they're the spenders, and I don't see many of them going to restaurants and going out right now.
Yeah,
I'm not.
exactly. And here's the thing, people, they tend to look at COVID however they want to believe it is. I'm not a pathologist or anything. I don't know about all the, what's going on for sure, but I do know this. I know that if the government believes that COVID's doing, or at least if they want to act like they believe that COVID's doing, all these dangerous things, then they're going to, react accordingly. But I think too many times people, they go, oh, well, this is what I think, and so this is what's going to happen. But the government's going to do what it does, and
And
that
isn't
really
this
doesn't leave
just
us
like,
much.
Chris, I wanted to ask you, everyone's saying, I wrote that poem about COVID that, you know, Corona, fear that I'll own you. Born in a lab in China, spreading so I'll find you. No one is safe, not even a king, and it will be the excuse for everything. And weren't we really having problems, economic problems pre-COVID? We were already in a manufacturing
Yep.
recession before
Yep.
pre-COVID. We were already having trouble, structural issues with the Fed funds market, where the Fed was already coming in September. And I think a lot of people forget that there were negatives prior to COVID that COVID only exacerbated.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what I said, earlier when I was talking about, as human beings, news and market happen and market action happen all the time, but it's only in specific times do we actually say, oh, let's find a reason for it. And so, I mean, you said it perfectly there. We already had all these issues. It's just that COVID was the reason that they're giving for this, for this fall right here,
Right.
coming down there. But again, this is, I sit here and I go, okay, well, if that's the case, if it really is news, and these things, these unforeseen things, then how, back in May of 2018, how did I draw out, what the Dow Jones went through all the way up until, $500 off on the top there? I had like a $30,000 target, and then it dropped down to 18,000. It was pretty close. I mean, the markets themselves, because they're nothing more than human emotion going on there, which is, you've got this, what we refer to as the social mood.
Yeah.
You can kind of figure out where the market's headed, and you can look at what's going on and go, okay, well, here's going to be the reason. And so you get it there. But a lot of people don't want to agree with that, and that's fine. They're going to do what they're going to do. But I mean, how else do you explain, that then?
I was, let me pose this to you. When we had this big rally that you're showing right here in the S&Ps, normally I would have expected yields to rise on a recovery, and they didn't. They just went sideways. The 10-year yield looked like an EKG of a guy in a coma. But they've come out of the hole. Yields increased pretty good last week. Could it be maybe the 10-year getting back up to 120 or so? And we're also seeing a steepening while this is happening. Maybe that's a catalyst. It wasn't low rates that could be the catalyst, but even say the 10-year going from 50 to 120 is more than a doubling of rates. Could that be a catalyst for this decline, since rates held steady to lower during this advance?
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. And I think that's one of the things that's kind of throwing some people off who try to look at more fundamental stuff with the market, like, treasuries and stuff like that. It's this idea that, man, as you said, everybody kind of expected, what didn't happen. And,
right.
I think when you look at that, I think that's where you step back and you go, okay, it's weird. I have everybody saying, even those who will ride this up excitedly going, yeah, but this is kind of odd. This is weird, but yet they don't stop and say, well, if it's weird, then, let's why do we think it's going to continue on? It's this, everybody gets into this euphoric mood and they buy, and, you've got Davey Day Trader over there saying that stocks only go up, and now I guess he's end up.
You don't know. Let me pose this to you too. I mean, during this rally, people that aren't professionals, that are friends of mine, would see what was happening with, businesses being shuttered and everything else. And they'd say, Dale, with what's happening in the economy, why is the market doing what it's doing? What did you tell people? That I'm sure you were asked the same question. How could the market be back at new highs when we still have everything to contend with the hit? And, part of the hit that people don't think about, Chris, is even if things went back to normal today, right now, that in the last 5 months, the loss of revenue,
yes,
personal, corporate, tax revenue, everything, that's going to take a long time to fill that hole. And things aren't normal because of all that lost revenue to the whole world for 3-4 months, right?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, the same thing I've been talking about, even if it goes up, I mean, you've still got to, just because the market itself is up there doesn't mean the economy itself is back where it was. It has to make up all this that it's, lost here. And, and it's not looking so good. I mean, if we looked at unemployment numbers, if we look back in May, we had retail sales numbers. If we look back in May, we had like a 17% rise, which was great. Okay. Coming off, the shutdowns and everything.
Right.
And then we get into June, and back in June it was only a little bit over 7%. That got revised this last month to 8.4%, something like that. But still, basically cut in half. And then we get July's, and we were expecting 2%, and we got 1.2. And I mean, so you see retail spending falling off a cliff again. And so even though it's rising just a bit, nowhere near where it was expected, well off of what it's been doing, the last 2 months before that. And so you look and you go, okay, well, if spending's down so much, then why do we expect the economy to continue to get better? Again, in order for the economy to do it, you need velocity. You need people out there, expanding credit, getting more credit. You need them spending money, and we're not getting that.
Okay.
So
what do you think the first wave down will take us down to, if we peak here this week?
If we peak here, I mean, if we're peaking here, I mean, this area, remember we were talking about this red line here last time?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm still looking at that. I'm still looking maybe around that area there would be
3,000.
that first decline.
Yeah. All right. Can we move over to the dollar? One of our attendees is interested in the Dixie.
Yeah, sure. Exactly. I've been talking for a while now about how the dollar is what's going to control it there. We're just looking for the move down. Is it done yet? I'm not sure. It's possible it's done. It's also possible this is a wave 4 making a triangle, in which case then we'd have a wave 5 coming down. But, again, I talked earlier about how the dollar bears are so off sides. That I think that if it does drop down for a 5th wave, it's not going to be anything that's going to take very long at all. I think it's going to be a pretty quick move down and back up. And I think
there's some fib levels at your S3 that I have around 91.40 to 60 as a possibility. Maybe we bounce first. Where would you say? What would tell you that the low is in and we're not going to continue lower? What would we have to take out to the upside?
Well, from where we're sitting right now, basically,
94.
It's out here. Let me pull this up here just a minute. Let's see. So if I've got, let me zoom out here a bit more on this chart here. All right. I mean, right now, locally, we'll do that. So we've got these highs right here. I think we've got to get back up above this 94 level here.
Okay.
Just at least to get going at the moment. I think I'm really more interested in this as opposed to specific levels. I think I'm really more interested in this descending channel. This is something for most people that they can easily look at. And I think if you're breaking out through that resistance, I think that's the telltale sign there that we're.
Was that above 96 or so?
From right now, that'll get us right above 96. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, just getting above this swing low right here.
Okay.
Whatever that is, right there. What is that? 96.17 or so.
Okay. So where are you at on the PMs now, Chris?
Oh man, yeah. So. So let's see. So gold, we've got gold here. And again, you get a bit of FOMO and everything pushing up, strong drop off down here. I believe we're doing a wave 4 right now with the wave 5 to come here on the first, sub wave 5, the first wave down. I think we're at the top. Now there is the possibility that this could be a 4 and we could still have a 5 headed up maybe to 2,300. Right now it doesn't look like it. So we'll continue to watch it. Right now it's still basically in 3 heading up here. I'm looking for a reversal probably around this 1984 area.
Okay.
So if we can get that and then a drop down for 5 there, and then, we'll have another bounce up for 1 and then head on back down for 2. But, for me, we've got to get below this over here, this swing low here at about, what is this here?
1,700, 1,680.
Yeah, it looks like right about 1,700. Let me see. Yeah, about 1,700.
Okay.
Because I've got a triangle there as the X there with that E. So if we can get below that, to me, that kind of says, tops in. But I
Okay, I was
believe right
kind
now
of
that we're just
thinking, I was kind of thinking maybe we went down to 17 and then made a run at new highs. Is that a possible count?
um
Not really. It's okay. You can do,
no, no, and I can't ever say anything's not possible.
that's, that is true. That is so true.
But
Everything can happen.
but I
Yeah.
think if we're getting down there, I think I think once we're really getting down there to 1700, I think you're really kind of pushing it um, for potentially a reversal of some sort.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, again, I've been talking to you a few times before. This is all part of that much larger count I've got here, which you see here, that count that everybody hates. I can't mention it without getting a lot of hate mail. But basically gives us this big correction off here, and so it's just an
Oh,
expanded
that's an
flat.
irregular B at new highs.
I'm sorry.
It's an irregular B at new highs
Yeah, exactly. Basically, you got
with
an
a C to
ABC down
come.
and up.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
and
I
so
won't tear your head off on that, but hey, I've seen irregulars, and they really, irregulars really cross people up because they make new highs and lows, and they're usually considered breakouts when they're just
exactly.
corrective. So,
Yeah.
yeah, interesting looks. What else is on your radar? Do you have a view on yields?
I don't at the moment with me.
Okay, all right.
I mean, we can take a look at silver real quick.
Okay,
Um,
silver's cool. Bitcoin's making new highs up here
yeah,
today.
Bitcoin's doing its thing. And my thought here again, here's silver. Silver, same idea as gold, though I think we've got a 1 and a 2. I
Mm,
think we might be working on a 2 here. And so, again, the same idea. It could potentially, head up here maybe to around, 31 or maybe even 33. Those are the ones I'm looking at the moment, immediate. But
right.
what we've had already is we've had this drop back down over this swing high here, which kind of suggests that this is a 3-wave corrective. We just want to see this kind of roll over and head down now. But we've got
Nice
this.
parabola. So,
Yeah, exactly.
so if you believe in the parabolic nature of things, once a parabolic move is broken, it's over, right?
Yeah,
Or
exactly. You
could
should
it put
expect a
in
60 to
another
80.
parabolic move?
Yeah, I mean, you expect at least a 60 to 80% correction off that, off the parabola.
Yeah.
Um, and that basically just gets you right back down into this area here. And so, I mean, minimum, usually that's kind of what we're looking at if that holds.
Okay.
And it seems to be. I mean, again, it's a strong drop on down through it, high volume. Makes a lot of sense there. And so I look at all this and I say, okay, well, we've got, Treasury's doing what they're doing, what you were talking about earlier, as a matter of fact. We've got precious metals here appearing to be making their top. And of course, I'm looking at, a sub-8 level for silver to get to, with my gold, it's sub 900 and silver there, it's sub 8. And so we look at it and we go, okay, well, how could that happen, right? Because, everybody's thought is, oh, the government's printing all this money, which again, QE is not what they think it is. And so, it's this idea that, again, we get to the point where people are scared. Like you said, the people with the wealth, they're not out there blowing all this money. They're concerned. They're worried. They want some confirmation that things are going to be okay.
Yeah.
And
They're hiding out in the Hamptons till
yeah,
after Labor Day.
exactly.
Okay.
The rich don't stay rich by making silly mistakes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So, okay. So, you want to wrap it with Bitcoin? You're probably looking for a top in here, is my
yeah. So if
guess.
we jump on over here to Bitcoin, let's see here. What do we got here? So we've got this push up, and there's been a few counts we've been looking at. I'm still of the thought that we're going to get down to sub 3,000. But this here may actually be an X is what we're looking at. So this has the possibility to run up here around 14,300 or so, maybe.
Mhm.
And that might give us an X, and maybe even up towards 16,000. It just depends on how crazy people kind of get in there and FOMO in.
Right.
And I think it's all just a product of what's going on with the dollar there. I think, if the dollar's rising in value, there's no reason to buy Bitcoin. There's no reason to buy gold. There's no reason to buy silver.
Well,
And
why do crypto people say that Bitcoin's a deflation hedge?
Oh man, you know,
They
I think
do, don't they?
you know what? I think
I
people
don't
that
get
are
it.
in crypto are just looking for any narrative they can get. They, you know, at the end of the day, really all it is a speculative market right now. Everybody's like, oh, this company fundamental, this and that. The only fundamental that really matters in the whole entire crypto space is Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin going up or is it going down?
Because the chart looks like the S&Ps.
Yeah, right,
You know, a
exactly.
lot like the S&Ps or silver or any of them.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Everything's going up at the same time and everybody's euphoric and nobody stops and says, wait a minute, this is weird. This shouldn't be happening like this. What's going to
Okay.
happen here? So, you know, I think everybody's going to get caught.
Okay. You want to show your website, Chris, if people want to follow your bearish counts
My various
going
scouts.
forward now that we've had massive moves to the upside? If you're going
Sure,
to be
sure.
right, the levels that are here for certain markets, especially S&Ps, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. They can get in with us here at howtotradetowin.com.
Okay.
And, you know, everything we do is basically starting with education. It's not this idea that I'm trying to shove my thoughts down anybody's throat. As you're well aware, you know,
Right.
at the end of the day, you're the analyst for your money. You know, you've got to make the decisions. The idea
You
here is
don't
just
click
to,
anyone's mouse. You're like me.
that's right. That's right. It's just to tell them, listen, this is the way that markets work. These are the things to look at. Now, you may come up to a different outcome than I do, but you know, it's getting that basis under there. So everything we do starts and ends with that.
Okay, my trading warrior brother, Christopher Inks at Texas West Capital. Thank you so much, buddy. Why don't we get back together, you know, like after the election and see how things are looking.
Fantastic. I'd love to talk with you again.
See if gravity still works.
That's right. That's right.
All right, buddy. So I hope you and your loved ones remain untouched. I know you're in Texas. They've been having a pretty rough COVID problem. And thank you for sharing your views with us today, Chris.
Thanks so much, Dale. I appreciate you.
All right, buddy. All right,
Take care.
everyone, that's a wrap. We'll see you tomorrow for Turnaround Tuesday. Don't just count your pips, count your blessings. See everyone tomorrow. Adios. You're welcome, Monica, DJ. See you guys. See you, Chris.
Take care.